My first job out of high school was the night shift at a 7-Eleven on the outskirts of town. For the most part, it was the most boring job imaginable, and I'm pretty sure I was half asleep for the majority of my time on the clock. What made it a lot more simple than the same shift at other locations was the fact that after midnight, I was only allowed to let customers into the store if they were paying for gas with cash at the register. Otherwise, the store was functionally closed for most of my shift, and my job had more to do with cleaning and replacing things to prepare for the morning shift. That was the perk of being right by the interstate exit. I barely ever had to deal with people, and that was great for me because I've always had more than a fair deal of social anxiety. However, it's not like my first real job helped me get over any of it, in all honesty. What happened during my last shift there definitely set me back several years. It started out like any normal shift. Monday nights were always super dead. A few cars came through to get gas in the first hour, but nobody came into the store. I was so bored that I had already started mopping before the store even closed. About halfway through the aisles, I realized it was a few minutes past 12, so I stepped away to go lock the front door and flip the sign from open to closed. Right as I did this, I took another look outside, and that's when I saw the creepiest night shift freak I've ever seen, walking through the pumping station toward the front door. He looked like he was taller than the gas pumps, and just about wider than one too. Disturbingly, he locked eyes with me as he approached and didn't look away. I could see that he didn't have a car, so I was relieved that I wouldn't have to let him inside. I pointed to the closed sign and double-checked that the door was locked, then walked back to the mop bucket right before we got face to face. He rattled the door and started knocking on the glass immediately. I turned away and broke eye contact, hoping that if I ignored him for a few minutes, he would just go away. For a moment, I thought it had worked because I couldn't hear him anymore. Unfortunately, by the time I finished mopping the aisles in the bathroom and got up, to mop the area in front of the door, he was still there. It startled me the way he was just waiting, crouched down to my eye level with his gigantic hands up against the glass, so he could stare inside with this super intense smile. Open up, I want Slurpee. Sorry, but we're closed. The register is for gas purchases only after 12 o'clock. Immediately, that jolly expression drained from his face and he scowled at me before backing off and walking away. The encounter gave me the creeps, but I was able to just shrug it off thinking he was gone. I finished mopping the rest of the store, and after I drained the bucket, I decided to take a 5 or 10 minute break in the back room while the floor dried. When I went back to the register and looked out the front door, I saw the last thing I wanted to see. That freakishly tall man was back, and now he was standing outside beside a car by one of the gas pumps. By the time I noticed him, he was already staring at me. I swore under my breath as he started making his way to the door again. Here was the exact sort of interaction that I dreaded every single night, and now it was about to happen. Pump number 4. How are you paying? Cash. My heart sank as I knew there was no avoiding letting him into the store for any reason other than outright denying him, which I was too nervous to do. He was the sort of person I expected to break down the door if I rubbed him the wrong way. Reluctantly, I walked around the counter and unlocked the door for him. I wanted to put some space between us, so I walked right back around to the register so he'd have